Cradle, Dogs of Fount, Chapter 40, Part 3. So, Benton, what's the deal with this place? Nate asked. Benton smiled with surprisingly white teeth. There is no deal. Well, other than having a heart for the well-being of New Hong Kong, Benton explained. That's another thing. This is not New Hong Kong. New Hong Kong is a city with lights you can see from space. That is where the non-believers entered their exodus. What you see here is the evolution of society. It's a way of life that will fare better for mankind's fragile future, Benton explained with a look at the villagers here and there. You have made the speech several times before, I guess, Nate jabbed. You'd be right, but the funny thing is, it never gets redundant. I take pride in what we have here. Nate was embodying it. It sounded too much like the way they talked to Fount, and Fount took food from the mouths of the others to feed the wealthy. He didn't know enough yet, but he vowed to find the catch. They slowed by a low-roofed hut with earthen tiles for the roof. It was almost monotone in a dark brown color and made of what looked like thick wood beams. Benton finally stopped by the door and motioned for Nate and Heather to follow him inside. You may get more of an idea of what I speak of if you join me inside, Benton explained. Inside the somewhat dim light, a man balding and stringy looking was mashing something in what looked like a large gray mortar. He and Benton shared a quick smile. Then Benton led them to a low table with cushions for seats. The cushions looked to be made of high-quality silk of blues, golds, green, reds, and purples with intricate patterns. They sat and a child set down white mugs with no handles in front of the three of them. My friend Walt makes these mugs you see before us, non-stop for about 5 hours a day. Benton waited for the kid to pour what looked like iced tea into their mugs. He took a slow sip. Wonder why it's not the standard 8-hour shift? Well, it's because we let him do, or he is free enough to choose whatever else he wants to do to fill the rest of the day. That is because the demand for mugs isn't absurd. People here only use what they need. What about the people that take too much? Heather asked. We let them because most of our family, that is what we call each other, knows their role and they appreciate their freedom. If someone gets greedy, we let them play out their course, and then soon they realize how out of line they have become, and then they are forgiven and we go on and we live on, Benton explained. What about murders, violence, rape? Nate thought he had him if the man was faithful to telling the truth. Benton took another drink of his tea. There are those, and it is extremely painful every time it happens, and when it does, the whole community comes together and heals the victims and the offender until peace arises again. We bury the dead and we try to celebrate their lives. We surround the offender and put him through intense and tried and true therapy that is a development of our own. Many times it is as if the murderer is reborn. They are thankful for the rehabilitation, Benton explained. Nate couldn't believe his ears. Yes, sometimes a family member or lover will attack the killer, but that just initiates another round of intensive therapy until everyone can start to move on. What kind of therapy is this? Nate asked, unconvinced. It is a spiritual therapy. We drill into that person until we uncover their deep-seated needs and weaknesses, and then we build on that. I don't know the finer skill and details of that the therapists have, but I can attest to their success rates. Nate looked back at Heather and she was beaming. She was impressed. Nate couldn't believe her but would say nothing now. They sat in silence for moments and watched Benton as he leisurely enjoyed himself. So, there are no rich people? Nate asked. At that, Benton sat up and then got on his feet. Thought you never asked. Come. After walking through Tofam, they found themselves on a wider path with a rather larger ranch house on the corner, made of what Nate thought was stucco. It was adorned with turquoise flares of adornment and gold accents around the windows and roof lines. There was even a peaceful pond with birds bathing and flying around it in what seemed like happiness. This is some rich guy's house, Nate asked, trying not to seem impressed. He crossed his arms. You could say that. Let's go in and see, Benton answered.